Today we're going to disassemble, clean, and lubricate this unloaded Sig Sauer P320. This is the M18 model, so let's get started. All we're going to use to do this, we're going to use a Boresnake, we're going to use original gun oil, which is a CLP, which means cleaner, lubricant, and protectant, some patches, maybe a few cotton swabs, and a gun brush. And while the slide is locked back, we're going to take this takedown lever and we're going to rotate it clockwise as far as it goes. Grab a hold of the slide, press back, you'll see the slide stop release, and then slowly let the slide come off the front of the gun. Next, we're going to take the guide rod and recoil spring out. That comes out just like that. Grab a hold of the barrel, and the barrel lifts out like so. And that's as far apart as you need to take it to do a good thorough cleaning on the front. The basic idea here is that we're going to take some of this CLP, which is a cleaner and a lubricant. We're going to take it and we're going to put it on all the pertinent places that get dirty, on all the pieces. We're going to let it sit for a few minutes and then we're going to wipe everything down. Then after that, we're going to lubricate it and reassemble. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take the barrel and we're going to put a few drops of original gun oil down the barrel. And then we'll take a cotton swab and just kind of smear that around a little bit to make sure it's coating the inside of the barrel real nice. And we're going to set that aside. We're going to do the same thing with the slide. We're going to just put a few drops, especially in the slide cuts on the side. We're going to get a gun brush and just kind of smear the cleaner around, and then we're going to wipe it off after. This is just going to work on getting the dirt loose. Here on the breech face, we want to be careful. We don't want to get any oil down in the hole for the striker, and we want to be careful not to get a bunch of oil down in this area. This is the striker. All right, so we'll just let that sit for a little bit. And on the frame, on the metal pieces here, we want to get these clean. These 4 rails, 1, 2, 3, 4, and anywhere else where it looks like it's dirty on the inside here. Put a couple of drops there, a couple of extra drops around just in there, and we're going to, just using the brush, kind of smear it around, and then we're going to come back and wipe all this off. And you can also just get a little oil on a brush and kind of put it through there, and we'll clean that off later. And the recoil spring and guide rod assembly doesn't really need much. It really doesn't get dirty, but if you want to clean it, you can put a drop, spin it around with the brush, and then we'll wipe it down after a little bit. Add a drop to the outside of the barrel, just kind of smear it around. We're going to wipe that off, clean it up. One important place to get is the feed ramp right here. That's where your rounds slide up into the chamber. Now you can use whatever kind of cleaner you want. I just tend to use the original gun oil. I've been using this for a few years. It's non-toxic, doesn't stink. I can use it in the house, get it on my fingers, and it doesn't hurt anything. Okay, so it's been a few minutes, so I'm going to start with the barrel. I'm just going to wipe down the outside of the barrel to get the cleaner off and get the oil off and get some of the dirt off. And then, instead of running a bunch of patches through the barrel, which can be time consuming, I'm just going to get a Boresnake and I'm going to run that through the barrel a couple times. The Boresnake has built-in brushes, which is going to help clean the inside of the barrel of any caked-on buildup. So you want to get a Boresnake that is the same caliber as your firearm. So this is a 9mm. So I have a 9mm Boresnake here. So that's going to save you a lot of time. All right, so we went through there a couple times. Looks nice and clean. All right, now we're done with the barrel for now. Now I'm just going to wipe all the cleaner off here. The best way I find to do that is to take a cloth, use the brush again to push the cloth into all the crevices and cracks. The brush will push the cloth into the slide cuts. Does a great job getting all the dirt and all the cleaner out of there. Brush. Okay, just want to make sure that's nice and clean in there. Any place that you weren't able to get, you just get your cotton swab. I love these cotton swabs. I got a pointy tip and a regular tip, so I can really get where I need to go. It's very important that you get underneath the extractor in this little gap right here. That's what grabs the brass after you fire the round and extracts it out of the barrel, and then with the help of the ejector ejects it out of the gun. Just put a drop or two on a rag to clean the exterior of the slide. This will just get the dirt off. It's also going to help with rust preventative. Alright, that's pretty good to go. We're going to do the same thing with the frame. You can wipe off what you can get to. Then you can use the brush to get in there and get all the little areas, get all the tight areas with the brush. You can even get down inside with the brush. Get your swabs out and you can get anywhere you missed. Just push a couple of rags through the grip there and clean that out real good. Okay. Alright, make sure the external part of the grip and frame are clean. Lastly, we have the guide rod. Just kind of spin it in my hands and the brush will clean it all up like that. Alright, nice and clean. Now it's time to lubricate. Okay, so now we want to lubricate the Sig P320. So first we're going to do the slide, and the Sig manual calls for a little bit of lube in each of the frame rail slots. The rail slots are the grooves that run all the way along the length of the slide. That's where the slide moves back and forth on the frame. So we just want to put one small drop, just one small drop in the rail on either side. Take a brush and spread that drop of oil up and down the length of the rail slot. Alright, and then wipe off any excess. Don't wipe it out of the groove, just wipe off any extra that might have come out of the groove. The Sig manual specifically says not to oil the striker assembly, so that would be striker hole or the parts down here where the striker moves back and forth. If you get oil in there, it'll attract dirt and that could bog down the striker, in which case your gun may not fire when you need it to. Now it also says to lube all external parts. The way I would lube all external parts is to take a patch, put maybe one drop on there, wipe that one drop, just wipe it. This is more for a rust preventative. Just kind of wipe everything down a little bit with that little drop of oil on there. Alright, so that's it for lubrication of the slide. Now the barrel, if you're going to store the gun for a period of time, you want to get a patch, get some oil on it and push it through the barrel, just to protect the inside of the barrel from rust over time. And if you do that, you definitely want to clean that out. Just run a dry patch through there before you shoot the gun. If you're going to carry the gun, you don't need to do that. Put a drop on a cloth and just wipe down the outside. Alright, that's all I would do for that. Recoil spring and guide rod. I would put one very small drop on the top half, one very small drop on the bottom half. I would just work that around a little bit with a brush. Wipe it down with a patch, just a surface coating. And then the frame, we want to put a little bit on each of the frame rails. There's 4 of them. That's where the slide moves back and forth. Just a touch of oil. The manual says to oil all accessible functioning parts. So basically, anywhere where metal might be sliding up against metal, just put a drop in there and then wipe it off, because you only want some of that little drop going down in there. Alright, so that's pretty much all we need for lubrication for the Sig, very little. So now to reassemble the Sig P320, take your slide upside down, take the barrel, and the barrel just drops in like so. And then we want to take the guide rod and recoil spring assembly and put the front end in here, squeeze this back so it ends up like that. Now, very, very important, this end of the recoil spring is actually oval. So this oval, if you pull it out, you see it's oval in shape. You cannot put it in like that. You must put it in standing straight up and down like that. So it's going to look just like that. It's okay. So now just line up these slots with the frame rails just like this. Slide it on. Sometimes you have to jiggle the back just a little bit to get it to line up. Move it all the way back. Push this up. Slide stop to hold it back. Now you can move the takedown lever back into place like this. Move the slide back again. Slide stop releases. And now the gun is back together. So first thing I would do is rack this a few times. Spread some of that oil around, get that worked in there a little bit. And that's it. So now you're done cleaning the gun. What I would recommend next, I'll have a video on how to do a function and safety check to make sure everything is functioning properly. I'll put a link in the description and I'll link it up here at the top. So if you found this video useful, please hit the like button below and please subscribe. All the products that I used in this video are linked in the description below, so please check them out. And thanks for watching.